Okay, beautiful. Good morning, everybody. Tarryn Reeves from Four Eagles Publishing and the Publishing House Concierge this morning, who is being joined by Amanda J.P. Brown, all the way from the USA. And today we're going to be chatting about Amanda, her business, and why she said yes to becoming a best-selling author with Four Eagles Publishing inside our current multi-author book project, Phoenix Rising. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
It's a pleasure. Now, Amanda is a former trauma therapist. She went from high school dropout and drug user to college graduate, earning 2 master's degrees. She is an author of You're Brave Enough, 8 Daily Practices to Be Your Own Hero. And today she guides women through tough life transitions so that they can gracefully release their old expectations and rebuild their lives confidently, free from shame and judgment. What a wonderful gift to give people, Amanda. Tell us a little bit about how you do that.
Well, I do that a lot through a lot of different ways, but I love journaling, asking questions. And so a lot of the work that I do is helping them look at and exploring the stories that they've been telling themselves, really kind of diving into what beliefs they've been holding and exploring those and seeing how they're either helping or hindering them, and really walking through the shame, self-judgment, because I've carried a lot of that for myself throughout my journey, and really how to accept and love yourself for who you are. And so it's really a personal journey for each woman. It doesn't always look the same, but it's holding a lot of space, asking a lot of questions that help tear down kind of some of the walls that we've built up, and really kind of, just being able to shift our perspective about who we are and finding that self-love and self-compassion. So I do that through the hero practices that I write about in my first book, and really kind of helping them just be able to embody all of that to become their own hero.
Yeah, wonderful. And are these skills that you learnt through your own journey, or are these things that you have studied, or a combination of both?
Probably a combination of both. Obviously, I have studied a lot about trauma and the impact of trauma on the body, the brain, the mind, the relationships, and I went through my own experiences with it. In addition, it's really what these practices really came about from me being able to own my own story, to really talk about the things that I went through, from releasing my own shame, and really talking about having my experience with addiction and being able to say that without going, don't look at me.
Yeah.
Or going the other way, and just being able to say it, stop. And even if all the butterflies come up, you're still smiling, you're still going, it's part of my story, it's part of what makes me beautiful, it's part of who I am. And so it really was about being able to talk about that in a very empowering way. And so it's the practices that I use to be able to write that first story and send it out to people, to really own it and start to integrate the pieces of myself that I had pulled apart and rejected, to only show up one way, and instead to be able to show up all the ways. So it really is about that.
Yeah, how wonderful. And what a great example to show people what is possible for them, and that there is a kind of helping hand to pull them out of that hole of shame and guilt that can consume people and make life very, very dark for themselves and those around them as well. And I think that that's what fuels addiction sometimes as well. It's that shame feeling and that need to self-medicate and get away from those feelings, those coping mechanisms. And it's just this vicious cycle, and to have someone to say, hey, I've been there, I understand, I get it. You're okay, I see you. Let's do this together. What a beautiful, beautiful gift to be able to give somebody.
Yeah. And it feels amazing to me to be able to walk with these women and to really just be with them through this transformation that they experience. It's an incredible gift for me to be able to be with them too, because it's, for someone to allow you into that space, it's just so sacred.
Yeah, and I think trauma shows up a lot of different ways for people, and we internalize it differently. I have had post-traumatic stress disorder in the past because I experienced political violence when I was living in Africa. And, people may not necessarily turn to drugs, but there are other coping mechanisms like alcohol, sex, overachieving, people pleasing, all of these things, that vicious negative self talk that comes up and can just derail your joy train faster than you can blink. And then all of a sudden you look up and you don't even recognize yourself anymore. It's such a horrible place to find yourself in, especially if you don't have friends or family who understand, because I think there's still a lot of stigma around addiction or depression, anxiety, all of these things as well, where people are like, well, just pull yourself together. Why can't you stop? It's like, well, no, it doesn't work that way.
Exactly. It doesn't work like that. That's not how this works. And it's that we see that a lot, like, just get over it already. And that's not how this works. Healing is a process. And a lot of times, especially like with deep wounding, you can see this medically, sometimes when surgeons, they might stitch things up, but that's not how it heals. It heals from the inside out. So really there's a lot of things that are going in to trauma healing that really is about personal growth and work. And sometimes it takes time. It took me like 20 years to be able to like put my story out there. So it's not like, even though I had been going to school for this and I'd been working as a therapist for years, I didn't talk about it because I was still carrying a lot of shame. And I think that people sometimes like, oh, you have it all figured out. No, doing the work can be really hard, and we all come to it in our own time for all the different stories that we have around what it means or how it'll change our life, or people are going to leave us and reject us and we're defected somehow. And all of that is not true. And while it still may happen, some of those people might be like, I don't think I want to be with you or hang out with you. But we don't want those people in the first place if somebody's not willing to accept us and see us and love us and appreciate us and for who we are and all we've been through, and see how incredible we are, then we don't want those people. But in the midst of it, we're clinging on to this and really struggling with like this perspective shifting and opening into. And you're right, trauma it takes time, and not everybody understands. Everybody reacts differently. So one person might have been through a similar experience or maybe the same exact one, and you both act totally different. And there are so many things that go into that.
Yeah, yep, absolutely, 100%. And it takes so much courage to show up and do the work. And because it's an addiction. Any of these things are, an addiction. It's nobody's fault. A lot of these are down to chemical imbalances and actual physical things that happen, never mind all the energetic stuff that goes on behind it. Us humans are complex spiritual beings, right? And it takes so much courage to go, I need help. Please help me. I don't want to live like this anymore.
Yeah, those are like the bravest words anyone can ever say is, I need help, because culturally we're supposed to be able to figure it out. And we're supposed to have it together, and we're supposed to know more by now. And we shouldn't be doing this, like all those judgments, but to literally go, I can't do this alone. I need help. One, that took so much for me to do. And I had to say those words in order to be able to get what I needed to grow, because we can't do it alone, or else we would have already done it by now.
Exactly.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how together you are or how smart, wealthy, supported, you are. It still sometimes takes somebody else to help you do the work, and that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you or that you're doing anything wrong or that you're less than. It just means that you just needed a little bit of a kind of like a tractor pull out of the mud I remember when I
Yeah.
was diagnosed with chronic depression and major anxiety, I had a massive argument with my doctor at the time, and I just remember sobbing in the chair going, there's nothing wrong with me, I don't need that, because I knew that culturally, like coming from Africa, all of those things, and I know worldwide, but especially in countries like Africa, it's like, don't air your dirty laundry, you know,
Absolutely.
pull yourself together, get on with it. There's some people even said to me, there is no such thing as depression. What's wrong with you?
And a lot of cultures are like that, like the whole mental health aspect of that. And stoicness and like this, we just deal with it. We just keep on trudging through and we don't talk about things like that. And it is like, it's really hard because I remember somebody asking me similar experience, are you depressed? And I wait, what? Am I right? Like, no, of course not. I'm not depressed. And then I'm like, well,
am I depressed? Maybe, but I'm not going to tell anyone about it because I'm so ashamed, because there's this big label attached to it. And you know, as I was sitting there literally screaming at her like a crazy person and sobbing hysterically that there was no such thing as depression, she was like, Tarryn, let me explain it to you this way. She said, there's this hill, right? And you've been trying to climb the hill. And she said, but you keep slipping back and getting stuck in the mud. She said, all I'm doing by giving you these antidepressants is hooking you up to a truck that is just going to pull you gently out of the mud and help gently pull you to the top of the hill so you can get to the top of the hill and stay there, rather than going up and coming down and going up and coming down. And when she explained it to me that way, I was like, oh, I get it now. I understand that. And this is the power of storytelling, right? As a teaching tool. Because when you tell a story, then somebody can relate or they can understand it better. It gives them context. It gives them connection to emotion or place or things like that. Or if you just give it to them like fact-wise, they're going to resist a lot of the time because they haven't connected with it. They don't understand. They've got all of this baggage that's hanging on. But when you give it to them in a story, that's the best teaching tool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like being able to do metaphors and really help people relate and understand where they can conceptualize what you're talking about differently is powerful. And storytelling's amazing that way. And it just, it really makes you feel less shameful or less critical of yourself. Like, oh, I get that. And I love that analogy that she gave you. I've never heard that one before, but I love it in the future because it's really what it is. It's being able to kind of just help you along, letting you kind of be able to do work too, but really kind of just aiding the process through a bit. So absolutely. I like that.
Yeah. Now you are writing a chapter inside of Phoenix Rising, which is a multi-author book project on with my company at the moment. What drew you into saying yes to a project like this?
Well, one, I love the idea of and how you've brought all of these women internationally to talk about their stories and to really talk about, the name was absolutely drew me, was the Phoenix Rising, because I talk about that in my book. And I really believe that we can, rebirth ourselves and kind of grow from our own ashes. And I talk about darkness a lot. So really kind of forging ourselves in our own darkness. And so I was automatically drawn to the energy that you've put into this. But being a part of something where we talk about these things internationally just elevates it to like this next level, because these stories aren't just like for the US or for Africa or for whatever country you are. These are stories that are timeless, the stories of people, the struggle. And so really being able to share and inspire globally is really what drew me to this.
Yeah, beautiful. Wonderful. I love how you verbalize that so beautifully. Now, what are you hoping to achieve either in your business or in your personal life or both as a result of being a part of a project like this?
Well, one, am so excited to be able to continue writing. And so for the longest time, I stopped connecting with the writer within. So to be authoring something, to have done my book, and then to now be doing this, it's like bringing me kind of full circle back again to part of myself that I had disowned for so long. So personally, it's just a confirmation that show up and write, allow your story to be seen and heard, because for a long time I just wanted to blend in. I didn't want people to notice me. And so this is helping me personally just get more comfortable, being more confident in myself and in my own story, and really professionally opening up my net of helping impact women and having that ripple effect, not just of women of my age or older or younger, but like for generations, helping heal the generations of people who've experienced things similar and helping them know that healing is possible. And so that in of itself I would love to be able to continue working with more women, walking through them. I have a big group program I'm getting ready to launch out in the near future. And so I really hope to fill that with women who are ready to walk through this and move into their own power.
Beautiful, wonderful. And yeah, these stories of challenge to triumph, struggle to, I was going to say glory, but it's to shining, struggle to shining rather. They're timeless human experiences. It's part of the human journey. And, it's not like, people can only have drug addiction from the age of, 20 to 30. It's like, no, like there's babies born into hospitals that, are addicted to drugs. And then there's people in their 90s addicted to drugs. Like, it doesn't discriminate on age, gender, race, belief, whatever it is. Yeah. So wonderful. Thank you so much for having joined me today, Amanda. It's been a beautiful, insightful conversation, and I can't wait to see what you're going to bring into the world with Phoenix Rising.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be part of this project.
Thank you so much. And for those of you listening, the next multi-author book project name has dropped. It's called Corporate Dropouts, Employee to Entrepreneur, Meet the Entrepreneurs Who Took the Leap and Soared. So if you resonate with anything that we've been speaking about today, you want to impact people around the globe with your story and your message, and you identify yourself as a corporate dropout, decided, no, that life is not for me, I'm going to do things on my terms, please message me, reach out, and let's have a chat about it. Thank you so much, Amanda. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.